And we're live. Christian,
Hayden.
Christian Eaton. Welcome to the first weekend live at Morningside podcast. I'm pretty excited to do this. It's just gonna be a fun, like open forum thing, getting to know pilots and talking about flying and all things free flight. And I know that you're a marketing manager for Fisher. You're the head of the US marketing for Fisher Skis.
Yeah, in a way, there is I have a boss, of course, like everybody. So I wouldn't say that I'm the head of US marketing,
Okay.
but I do my
That's
best.
one of your roles. And what's that job like while also being a pilot? Does it give you plenty of free time?
It's pretty convenient for being a pilot,
Uh-huh.
having countering seasons where I travel so much in the winter. I'm not able to fly much, but it allows me a lot of flexibility in the summer during flying seasons. So
Yeah,
it's really
excellent.
convenient.
And you learned to fly here at Morningside?
I did, yeah.
Awesome.
4 years ago.
4 years ago. I was trying to remember if I was part of your instruction or not, if I
Never,
worked with you.
never took a lesson with you.
Yeah, but you were learning at the same time when I first got here, maybe?
You were in and out. Yeah.
3 years ago was my first year.
It's why I'm such a garbage pilot. Wrestling.
I'm the best. That's excellent. Tell me about your pilot progression. Have you been flying outside of Morningside, and what do you like to fly? What's kind of your go-tos? Yeah,
I have so many thoughts on the topic.
great.
Flying is such an incredibly magical experience, just moment to moment. I am trying this season to really focus on not pushing,
Mm,
and instead, I want to develop my own reputation as being a conservative pilot.
mm,
This is an activity I don't want to die for.
mm-hmm.
So I really like hike and fly specifically.
Awesome.
Flying midday thermals is beautiful and fun, but it can get intense. And what I love is the magic of like hiking up a mountain and then launching at 9 a.m. and having
Yeah,
this boaty sledder down.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of a dream come true, right?
it's unbelievable.
Are you a climber?
I am. Well,
Yeah.
I would say I used to be a
You
climber.
used to be a
until I
climber.
found-
You started
until I
paragliding.
found
Classic. Is what I tell all my students is the best way to get out of climbing shape is to start paragliding.
It's
It's because we all have this dream. It's like we're climbers, and then one day you find out, oh, there's this sport where you can fly down and you don't have to hike down anymore, and everybody's hooked and sold right away.
Well, frankly, actually, that's how I kind of got into flying.
Mhm.
Was I spent so many hours standing at belays on cliffs.
Yeah.
I'm specifically thinking of a memory multi-pitching on Cannon where I'm 4 pitches up, standing while my climber is thrashing through a crux,
Yeah.
and I'm watching these what were they? They were probably vultures just
Yeah.
soaring the cliff.
Yeah.
Like I felt so trapped against the cliff, and I'm watching them. I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And so that was really what spurred the inspiration, and then I looked into it, and here we are.
Really, it was really seeing birds while climbing one day, and you're like,
Yeah.
I really got to do
I gotta
that.
do
I
that.
want to do that. Like enough of these stupid human tricks
Yeah.
clipped into all this metal and plastic, and I'm attached to the wall, and I want to just be free like a bird.
I felt so imprisoned by gravity and like the need
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like, clip to the wall, and these birds were just playing in the air, and they looked so free, and so it looked so fun. And then I was like, yeah, I want to do that. I don't want
man.
to be like relegated to this wall.
Yeah. It is such a classic instinctual desire that we all kind of have as kids. And I don't know, I think I was like probably 26 or so before I really learned that, like, oh, this paragliding thing is a thing, actually. Like, everybody knows about skydiving and parachutes, but oh, there's this other sport where you can like go up in the air and it's like connected to mountaineering and all these things. And for me, it was similarly a crazy light bulb that went off. Like, oh, this is my path. This is gonna be a part of something that I do forever.
Totally.
Have you got to do some good, memorable hike and flies in the last year or two?
Yeah, a couple. I mean, some memorable ones. More recently, last October was my first flight off Cannon.
Oh,
So
good.
I hiked up early up Kinsman and
Mhm.
flew off. Like that was just magical
Mhm,
with
mhm.
fall foliage. It was
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
My highest altitude flight was off Loveland Pass in Colorado. We
Oh,
hiked
killer.
up there and flew off.
Great.
And then I did a couple days later Peak 6
Mhm,
at Brick.
mhm,
I jumped
mhm.
out. That
That's like 13,000
it
feet.
kicked my
Oh, I
ass.
bet. Yeah,
Dude,
coming
with
from
my
sea
full
level.
tank.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
terrible.
Oh, you
Yeah.
got smoked.
Totally smoked.
You're like, I'm fit. Then you
Yeah.
got there with the Colorado guys, and you're like, I'm not fit.
Well, and I lived out in Colorado for 8 years.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I remember what it felt like to be acclimatized.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was just hilarious how much that kicked my ass.
Yeah. I know the feeling. Similarly, I just went out west for a week and went climbing with some buddies, and like I'm in pretty good shape, but I get out there with those guys, and it's just the level of cardio going uphill. That's like I couldn't keep up. Tell me about Cannon. I don't know much about it. Like you hiked up, but there's a tram that goes up and the flying there. Just tell me all about Cannon Cliff in
Yeah.
New Hampshire.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, right now it's different because the tram's getting renovated, so it's going to be out of commission this season.
Okay.
But typically you can ride. We have a great relationship with Canon and the state parks who run it, New Hampshire State Park Service, and so you're allowed to ride the tram up. You just sign a waiver and you
Yep.
buy a tram ticket and you can fly
Yep.
off.
Yep.
But for me, it's like I'd rather get the hike.
Rather hike anyway.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So hike up Kinsman Ridge Trail, which is pretty short but very steep if you've done it. And then you get to the top, and it's pretty simple. You just lay out and launch off the ski trail, like right at the top of the trail.
It's known for XC flying. It's good thermal flying there.
Yeah, it's known for XC flying. It's also known for like one of the only like speed riding locations.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, people will fly minis and speed wings off that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Haven't really ventured into that world too much, but yeah, some good XC flights go down there. Yeah, there's a little bit of complexity with the tram where like you're not supposed to fly over the tram, so you're a bit relegated to one side of the mountain.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Venturi of Franconia Notch to contend with anyways.
Right.
But otherwise, like, yeah, from my understanding, I have not gone XC from there, but it seems to be a good spot.
Yeah. Flown it a few times and I've climbed it a few times. I did the Black Dyke ice route last season and was thinking like, wow, I kind of wish I had my wing. Actually, it was like perfectly coming up the hill and
Did not have to fly down.
yeah,
Did not have to
exactly.
walk down.
Yeah, and then I just walked down like a stupid human monkey. It's like so like lame. Like what is this? 2010?
Well,
Who am I? I thought I was more evolved at this point. You know?
I learned to fly, right?
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because I joke that I hate walking down.
Yeah.
It feels like every activity that I do it just tries to avoid walking down in any way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love backcountry skiing, and the reason I got into it is because I love hiking.
Mm-hmm.
You get to hike up and then ski down. And you don't have to walk down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you get into flying, same thing.
Yeah.
So it's just fun.
It's all about the downhill.
Walking down sucks.
Yeah. Any more like tangible goals for flying? I love, by the way, the like ego check of wanting to be known as a conservative pilot. I think that's really healthy and really mature. That's awesome. I wish like every student would say that. And it's great to like say it, but like, what do you end up doing? It's like, I'm going to end up pushing it a little bit and I want to try and fly a little harder. I'm going to scratch these trees a little bit more, work for that thermal and just push. That's a really healthy mindset.
Thanks.
Beyond that goal, is there like a place you want to fly or an accomplishment you're kind of like striving for?
Great question. Honestly, I've never been much of a goal-oriented person. In skiing, my goal is always to ski as many days and to ski with as many people as possible. Like
I
I'm
like
always
that.
out for the like social element.
Oh, I like
why
that.
I love coming to Morningside specifically.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
You get to fly, but you're also like around other people.
Yeah. As you can tell, as more and more people walk in, you hear them all in the
It's a
background.
Great day to fly right now.
Yeah. It's raining outside, so everyone's indoors.
So I don't know. Goals I have, not really. I want to fly as much as possible. Maybe check out a few new sites.
Yeah. What kind of new sites are you looking to get to?
Ones that I probably shouldn't mention on a podcast.
Either above the pay grade or wilderness zones where you can't fly.
Yeah, or like private property.
Private property.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
that's
stuff.
okay. You can tell me off air.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that's fine.
But no, yeah, not really goals. Just trying to fly. I mean, at this point, I'm just trying to get hours
Yeah.
in like a way that really stays within my comfort zone and not pushing too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frankly, I have so many thoughts on the whole like trying to be a conservative pilot,
Mhm.
getting scared last season in flights, and then being like, "Why am I doing this? Like that wasn't fun."
Yeah. Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
and then just trying to have like this steady, sustainable growth that doesn't like push.
Mhm.
It really came to a head last fall when I realized like, oh, I'm trying to keep up with other people, and I'm
Yeah.
falling into a comparison trap.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so when I once I grappled and kind of like reflected on that, I realized if I can just fly my own flights and like do this activity, which is so magical at
Mhm.
baseline
Mhm.
without having to try to like keep up with others,
Mhm.
that will keep me safe and I think I'm gonna have a better time. So
Absolutely.
that's really my goal going into this season is to like not allow external motivations to come in and fly my own days.
Mhm. That's excellent self-reflection. It's hard to keep the ego in check for that stuff, especially as you're kind of like coming up in the ranks and you've got a lot of peers that are there with you and so-and-so flew for an hour and a half and you're like, oh, I want to do that. I want to get that. And being able to really just enjoy it for yourself. It's difficult in all things in life, you know. It's like how much money do you have, or you know, how successful are you are, all that kind of stuff.
And what are you willing to sacrifice in your personal life too?
Mm-hmm.
Is a huge thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've got an amazing girlfriend. I have family I'm very close to. My sister actually could be giving birth right now.
Yay.
Yeah, you know, it's like there's a lot of things going on in my life, and so the S word, selfish, gets thrown
Mm-hmm.
around every
Mm-hmm.
once in a while, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's just trying to like figure out where flying fits in with all the other things because I'm not willing to like make huge life sacrifices for this activity.
Mm-hmm.
But then also like figuring out how to stay current while not, you know, dropping everything else. So it's
Yeah.
a delicate balance. It's a tough activity.
Yeah, that's a great perspective, you know, because I think we've all had that moment of fear and land and like, why am I doing this again? Like that was scary and like that wasn't fun. And where's the risk to reward ratio where 10 minutes ago, like I thought I might die, but then those feelings go away and then the hunger comes back and you're like, "Ah, I'm gonna go fly again. I'm gonna go fly again." Yeah, I appreciate that. You've heard of the intermediate syndrome before?
Too many times.
Too many times. It's one of my classic things to tell new students is that like people get stuck in this mentality of not nearly having the skill that they think they do. And that skill, depending on the mindset, it seems like, you know, you won't be as susceptible to it as others. But sometimes it can stick with people throughout their entire pilot career. You know, they could be a pilot of 10 years and be very advanced and have tons of skills and truly not be an intermediate, but still kind of have that like intermediate mindset of like invincibility kind of thing. Like I've flown in these conditions before, you know, this is well within my wheelhouse of ability. And looking back on other experiences where maybe they took a risk and they didn't need to, and kind of had that like complacency trap of knowing that, oh, I did it once before and it was safe and I can do it again kind of thing. I know myself, I'm like, I love hearing that you said your sister's pregnant and gonna have a baby soon.
Second. Yeah.
I'm so incredibly pro-human right now. Like more babies for everybody, more babies. I'm so pro-human. And similarly, I want to start my own family soon and thinking about like how safe is this, right? And like where is that level of risk and like what am I willing to tolerate? And another thing that I like to tell students a lot is paragliding can be very safe. And it's only as dangerous as you make it. Just like downhill skiing or mountain biking or rock climbing, you can go faster. You can try something harder. You could try something that has a bigger run out and less gear on it. The rock's not as high quality. You know, you're doing a double black down a ski run on a mountain bike or on skis and it's bad conditions. You're going just a little too fast. You got the earbuds in and you're bumping, you know, it's like, it's how far are you going to push it kind of thing. Another one of my favorite parts that kind of aligns with it's only as dangerous as you make it is that every landing is mandatory, right? But every launch is optional, right? So every time you choose to fly, you're willing to take on that certain amount of risk kind of thing. And so I try and like push that. I think you had an awesome mindset and I wish more people had that. That's really, really proud, I got to say.
Thanks. I mean, frankly, I'm actually proud of myself for coming to this conclusion.
Yeah.
I will say I think it comes from many years of like other adventure sports. Like I learned to rock climb in Colorado from an old 80s Yosemite climber.
Rad.
And so he had this, you know, this mantra that I live by. It's like, stay scared, you'll stay alive.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, totally. And really what it's getting to is like complacency kills. And so as soon as you stop being scared, you start skipping steps and you get lazy about it. And like that's when you get yourself into trouble. So I try to take that mentality of like conservatism and risk reward into this activity because I don't want to die doing it. And I totally agree with you that there is a safe way to do it. And I'm grappling with trying to find my own like risk tolerance in this activity and what that means. It's harder to manage the variables. You know, rock climbing, extremely easy to manage variables. Backcountry skiing, hard, but better. This one feels different. Like, and it could be how new I am in my progression, but it's like just trying to manage the unknown variables. There's so many going on at once that I'm really dialing it back to try to like gain the experience before I put myself into that like
Mm-hmm.
intermediate syndrome. And
Mm-hmm.
while I've
Mm-hmm.
heard of that, I more lean into the Dunning-Krueger curve
Mm.
and really assess myself of like where I am on that, because
Yeah.
I've played that game in so many other activities as
Yeah.
I've like progressed in those.
Yeah.
And just making sure that you are being very honest with yourself of like
Mm-hmm.
where you are on that curve, and
Yeah.
then making your flying choices based on that.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know,
No need to leapfrog steps.
totally.
Yeah, the Dunning-Krueger is definitely a great chart.
Yeah,
It's something I could incorporate into my lessons. I think actually be fun for people to like
totally.
see like where does your pin land?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're, without maybe even saying it, but like you have an idea of where they are in the curve,
Hmm.
and then where they think they are is really the important part. And perhaps as an instructor, that would be good feedback for you to understand their like
Hmm.
risk mentality,
Yeah, see where
right?
they think they're at.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
super important.
definitely.
Yeah,
Try and get as much of an unbiased perspective as possible.
totally.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've got some student couples right now, like husband and wife and boyfriend and girlfriend and that kind of
do
thing.
you?
It'd be interesting to like have them do it for each other
Oh, that is
and see where they
interesting.
think the other plots on the
Yeah,
course kind of
totally.
thing.
Yeah,
And maybe like keep it a surprise and do like a reveal
yeah.
almost and be like, no, I was way lower than that. Yeah,
Oh, good. Breaking people up. I love
yeah,
that.
exactly. That's what I do. We just got to incorporate a few more challenges and technical, emotional influence into the daily lesson
Yeah,
to make sure you know. Yeah, that's such a great thing. The variables. Yeah. Another thing that I kind of love to highlight for people is like how you show up every day, right? Because not only is the weather every day being like one of the most obvious variables that Mother Nature is a fickle beast, right? And wind gusts do happen. But did you get a good night's sleep?
yeah,
Did you drink yesterday? Or are you stressed about something? Where's your circadian rhythm at? Did you have a good morning? Are you highly caffeinated or not? Are you normally caffeinated or not? Did you have a good bowel movement today? Are you maybe carrying an extra pound or two around
for
that you don't
sure.
need to? It's like a lot of things that people don't necessarily take into consideration for their daily lives. Like I just go to work and I don't really think about, my headspace necessarily. But when I show up to paraglide and I'm, literally taking my life into my hands, holding onto these toggles, flying around this giant piece of fabric in the wing, little elements like that, they take their toll, the stressors, the cortisol influences, because if your adrenals have been maxed out from some gnarly fight you had with your girlfriend the night before, and then the next day you need your adrenals to be firing so you can have those moments of like clear focus and vision, you could be at a deficit.
Absolutely. Well, and I think what you're getting at is the way we think of, yes, all of those things. Um, from a backcountry skiing background, we talk a lot about heuristic traps, right?
Mm,
And I try to bring that into flying as well, where you're like, is it safe just because I see other people flying?
hmm. Hmm.
Is it, am I just following somebody who I think is an expert and I'm taking their word without thinking critically myself
Right.
and what I know?
Yep.
And yeah, I think it's a similar thing to evaluate yourself through that lens, as well as through, did I sleep well?
Yep.
Am I stressed? Am I going through a breakup?
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Because I can speak for myself that like I've had times where I was going through a breakup or something happened, and in climbing or skiing, like, and I was pushing in ways that I
Hmm.
probably shouldn't have been, and I'm
Hmm.
really glad I lived through that.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
those are certainly valuable like
Yeah.
reflections to have.
Yeah. The heuristic. That's huge for sure. Being able to self monitor, like really evaluate. Trying to remember, I had a similar scenario. I lived in Colorado for a long time, flew tandems in Colorado, and I lived in a place where there was a forest fire
Mhm.
actually, and the wildfire was pretty gnarly. And we kind of had like the emergency knock on the door in the middle of the night when the police were saying, "Okay, you have to evacuate your house right now," and was booked for tandems to fly the next morning. It's like, oh my God, so like, what's the most valuable thing in my life right now? Okay, money, passport,
Tandem glider.
jewelry, tandem glider, right? Like, grab the rock climbing rack, like, got the mountain bike, like, got the ski boots, like, whatever I could fit in my van that I had at the time, just piling it all in. Um, Maybe like some snacks, probably I got, but didn't get a great night's sleep. Ended up like sleeping in the van and going flying tandems the next day. Conditions weren't great, but I can't blame the conditions. And I had an aborted launch, and I put my passenger kind of like in the bushes right there and got all scraped up. And I have a scrape on my arm actually that turned into a scar. And it's like I have
Good.
this physical reminder
Totally.
of that exact scenario. And I was, much younger and much more headstrong and far more ego driven than I needed to be. I didn't take any of that into consideration. It was just like another day in the office. Like I can go fly tandems. I go fly tandems every day. No big deal that like I almost had my house burned down and I had to pack my whole life into the van. It like wasn't even a consideration, you know? So it's great for people to take in the big picture
Yeah.
a little bit more.
A question for you, Hayden. Do you, so I've talked a lot about my background in other activities and how I like bring that in a very real way
Hmm.
to flying.
Hmm.
What is your take on people who come from other adventure sports versus people who don't and come
Hmm.
into this activity? Because I imagine there's a hugely different mindset
Hmm.
as well as like different skill sets that they might bring in.
Hmm.
And sometimes
Hmm.
I wonder if I lean on that too hard. And that's not
Hmm.
my question. My question is specifically about like, what do you see
Hmm.
between those two segments?
Hmm. The biggest element, the like common undercurrent is always fear. Because people who haven't engaged in those kinds of sports, who haven't had the speed underneath their feet, haven't had the exposure of a climb, you know, the actual like physical danger of like I could get hurt doing a thing, you have a totally different mindset. And fear is something I've been thinking a lot about lately because we seem to have more and more so a growing culture of like risk aversion. We're kind of getting this like very safety net, soft culture with helicopter parenting and all this kind of stuff where people seem to be more and more scared and less willing to take chances and risks, which, you know, kind of links back to our previous conversation, which I totally respect and admire. But at the same time, like, I think you need to have a little bit of like pushing the envelope, right? Because like you're not living on the edge, you're taking up a little bit too much space. And people who haven't experienced that, like, intentional adrenal release, that kind of like cortisol flush and the euphoria of the endorphins and the, like the post high bliss that comes with the endorphins, just like a runner's high or something like that. People who don't have those experiences take a lot longer to learn. They're much slower in the process and they're a lot more scared and they just don't know what it's like to have those physiological, hormonal triggers that's happening in their body. And it can be very overwhelming, right? And it's like they are scared, but they're also scared of is this new feeling that they've never experienced before. And it's like the, oh my God, and like, what is it, a fight or flight? And like, I'm trying to fly, but I'm trying to fight this experience at the same time. And people who don't come from sports backgrounds, I find, tend to be a lot more scared and a lot slower to learn. And that's like the number one thing that I see for sure.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, in climbing we call it the mental game. At the
Yeah.
beginning of the season, you're a little less likely to run it out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Not
you're
quite as sharp.
yeah,
Yeah.
not quite as sharp. You're
Yeah.
like thinking about your gear placements
Mm.
way more,
Hmm.
things like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
And it's funny you mentioned how like maybe people should be pushing it a little bit more. And what I will totally agree with is that like yes, you will progress faster if you're willing to push harder.
Hmm.
And I have consciously uh decided to progress slower
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
of the level of risk that I want to take with
Hmm.
this.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's one of the hard parts is like people who I learned with
Hmm.
or where I would consider my peers
Hmm.
through the P2 program
Hmm.
have progressed way faster.
Oh yeah.
And I can chalk it up to a ton of things. Like some of them I just have watched them like, yeah, you have a way higher risk tolerance than I do.
Hmm.
And like that's totally cool. Like your prerogative, I'm absolutely not judging others. And I really respect it. Sometimes I wish I had that a little bit more because I had that in other activities and I
Hmm.
don't in this one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I got a long time to do this.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with a slower progression for
Hmm.
me. That's like
Hmm.
just my choice with this activity.
Yep.
And we'll see. I mean, I'm not impervious to going out and pushing it because I got a little overstoked.
Hmm.
But for the most part, that is my goal
Hmm.
is to just like
Yeah.
keep it light, keep it fun, and
Well, it
like
perfectly aligns with the old cliche, perhaps you've heard of there's old pilots and there's bold pilots, but
yes,
there aren't old and bold pilots.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I would like to be an old pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that like sporting athleticism element of people and students that come through and pilots as they learn, whether they're my students or not, I think is a double-edged sword too, right? Because then you get kind of overconfidence. And I found that there's also like a very specific demographic, and it's usually like a very athletic, well-to-do, high aptitude, intelligent, like 27 to 32-year-old guy. There's women too, but this is like much higher percentage of the demographic. And especially the climbers that come in who have had a lot of that experience and are ready to go and are ready to push and are learning things really quickly and are super hungry. And that desire and that drive will suit them really well, and they'll like fly through the pilot progression. But then those are the pilots that I have seen, myself included, will get to a certain point where you start to take those unnecessary risks and end up having accidents and crashes and get hurt and that kind of stuff. And so when I see those students, whether they're friends or peers or students or not, I really try and like highlight that for them and like let them know that like you're awesome, you're super talented, you're going to go through this really quickly. You're the one that's most likely to get hurt also.
Totally.
And like letting them know like you're the guy,
Well, and hopefully, I think that can be hard for people to hear, and hopefully they are the kind of person who's mature and wise enough to know that you are an expert who has seen so many people come through, and that you're not judging them, you're not trying to put them down, but they see that as like oh, he actually knows what it takes to, or like who the person is that is like kind of high risk. And so he's giving me a little reality check. And so I hope that people take that
exactly.
hard.
It's hard to, say, take this with a grain of salt, but also not perceive that as like a personal judgment or like, it's my opinion, my attack on your character. Like you're a wild card, dangerous, rambunctious Yahoo. It's like, we got to, tame this cowboy kind of thing. It's like, no, I'm not saying that. You're just really good, actually.
Yeah. And that's the problem.
That's the problem.
You're going to progress quickly, and you're going to get yourself into air that you're not ready for very quickly.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And I wonder that I don't remember anybody ever having that conversation with me. And I would never say that I was good, but I remember I progressed through the program pretty quickly. Like it came quick to me. Like it was intuitive. My joke has always been that this activity is far too dangerous for how easy it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like launching and landing is so easy. Staying up is hard, but like it's so easy to launch and land, and it's dangerous. So it's like you can get into that quickly. And so I went through the P2 really fast, and then kind of artificially slowed my own progression down so that I wasn't charging. And that's kind of like my whole overarching point here.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So just trying to fly and be safe.
Trying to fly. Well, it looks like the rain is clearing. Sun's coming out.
I think the grass is dry.
Yeah. Well, it just poured. Well, let's see if it's come around. Excellent conversation, Christian.
Cool, Hayden.
Thanks for hanging. Weekends at Morningside. We're going to keep this going.